Welcome, fans of the happiest card game on earth. My name's John T, and you're in the Inkwell. Woohoo, here we go, 39 cards. That's right, the full set has dropped as part of the companion app, and we are going to go over every single one we haven't seen yet. Strap yourselves in, let's go. First up, a 4-costed inkable 2/5 for 2 lore in Amber, Cinderella, Gentle and Kind. She's a Storyborn Hero Princess at uncommon rarity with the ability Singer 5 and a Wonderful Dream. You can exert her to remove up to 3 damage from chosen princess character. Cinderella here being a bit of a jack of all trades and doing everything pretty well. 5 willpower is nothing to be snuffed at. She's able to get a action song out a turn earlier. She can quest for 2 lore, or she can exert to remove damage if you're playing a Princess Matters deck. Just a really solid little uncommon. Next up, a 3-costed inkable 2/5 for 1 lore in Amber, Mr. Smee, Loyal First Mate. He's a Dreamborn ally pirate at common rarity. Not much to say here, another Amber with a bigger butt than it needs, but otherwise just a vanilla. Also vanilla, but maybe a little stinkier, a 4-costed uninkable 3/5 for 1 lore in Amber, Pumbaa, Friendly Warthog, a Storyborn ally at common rarity. Next up, a 4-costed inkable action in Amber, You Have Forgotten Me. Each opponent chooses and discards 2 cards from this uncommon action. First time we're seeing discard from Amber, and it's good, especially in multiplayer and coupled with the Emeralds discard stuff that we've been seeing all week. I really wasn't expecting this card, and I really wasn't expecting it in this color, but man, a couple of these and a couple of the Emerald stuff and you're basically empty in their hand. Moving into Amethyst, a 7-costed uninkable 4/5 for 3 lore, Dr. Facilier Argent Provocateur, a Floodborn villain sorcerer at rare rarity with the ability Shift 5, and Into the Shadows. Whenever one of your other characters is banished in a challenge, you may return that card to your hand. Oh my goodness, does this explode some of the Emerald decks we've been seeing, where you want stuff to be challenged and banished. I know I want to play Emerald in this game, but all of these cards today are making me not know what color I want to play alongside of it. It's a little pricey at 7 and uninkable, but you can shift it out earlier. It's just a good body on its own. But wow, yeah, coupled with some of the banished Emerald stuff, this is just gross. A 3-costed inkable 2/4 for 1 lore in Dr. Facilier, Remarkable Gentleman. He's a Storyborn villain sorcerer at rare rarity with the ability Dreams Made Real. Whenever you play a song, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one of them on the top of your deck and the other to the bottom. Pretty solid ability here, although I haven't really seen that much song stuff from Amethyst. Also makes a good shift target for the one we just saw. Yeah, this is fine. A 5-costed inkable 4/5 for 1 lore in The Queen, Wicked and Vain. She's a Storyborn villain queen at super rare rarity with the ability I Summon Thee. You can exert her to draw a card. One of the earliest arts that we've seen that we've been waiting for the card for so long. And yes, card draw is very strong, but otherwise I'm not really quite sure why this is a super rare. Next up, a 7-costed uninkable 2/8 with 3 lore. Ursula Power Hungry, a Storyborn villain sorcerer at legendary rarity with the ability It's Too Easy. When you play this character, each opponent loses 1 lore. You may draw a card for each 1 lore lost this way. So whilst we thought that lore losing was very much stuck in Ruby, it looks like everything's getting a little bit of it now. This is just a really, really good card for multiplayer. It's still pretty good in one-on-one, I think. But yeah, with that 8 on the backside, there's very little that's removing this from the board. Tap it out for lots of lore, possibly gaining you 3 cards in a multiplayer game. Just, yeah, really good. 2-costed uninkable action in Amethyst, Freeze. Exert chosen opposing character at common rarity. This is fine. The fact that this is uninkable probably means it won't see that much play, but sometimes exerting their big finisher is enough to swing the game for you. Not great, not terrible. Nice art though. Moving into Emerald, an 8-costed uninkable 3/5 for 3 lore, Genie Powers Unleashed. He's a Floodborn hero at rare rarity with the ability Shift 6, Evasive, and Phenomenal Cosmic Power. Whenever this character quests, you may play an action with cost 5 or less for free. Woohoo! A 3-lore quester that gives you a free action. Yeah, this is really great. And Genie already has some strong cards that this can shift onto. Emerald action deck is going to be where it is at. A 5-costed Inkable 2/4 for 3-lore, Mad Hatter Gracious Host. He's a Storyborn uncommon with the ability Tea Party. Whenever this character is challenged, you may draw a card. I feel like this is just Emerald, distilled into a card. A big quester who needs to be dealt with, but if doesn't see targeted removal, is just getting you value. And uncommon as well. It's got that 4 willpower, so it's just past that break point of the early game. 5 is maybe a little expensive for it, but even still, I think you can come this down. This thing's getting 3, maybe even 6 lore. A 2-costed Inkable 1/4 for 1 lore in Tamatoa Drab Little Crab. He's a Dreamborn, uncommon vanilla. But what a vanilla. 4 willpower is kind of insane on a 2-costed card. If this had 2 lore on it, it would be absolutely broken. As it stands, it's, fine. I feel like we might see another Tamatoa Floodborn in set 2 or 3 that this is going to really love. But even still, this is probably coming out on 2 and gaining you a few lore in the early game. A 4-costed Inkable 2/3 for 2 lore in Tinkerbell, most helpful. She's a Storyborn ally fairy at common rarity with the ability Evasive and Pixie Dust. When you play this character, chosen character gains Evasive this turn. A slightly overcosted quester here. Her ability is very situational. Good target for a Giant Fairy though in an Emerald Steel deck. A 5-costed uninkable action in Emerald next, Steal from the Rich. Whenever one of your character's quests this turn, each opponent loses 1 lore. It's a rare card. Woo-wee! This is oh man. Emerald, you're going to be so hated in multiplayer if you're an Emerald player. Emerald Ruby that just removes everyone's lore all the time. You have such a big target on your head. I mean, a big old uninkable action like this is, you've really got to lean into this strategy if you're running this card, but even still, I think it's pretty spicy. A 2-costed uninkable item in Emerald, Dr. Facilier's Cards. This uncommon card has the ability The Cards Will Tell. You can exert it and pay 1 less for the next action you play this turn. Uninkable, but otherwise a pretty solid item here for the Emerald action deck. If you can get one of these down early, you're going to be just seeing benefit every single turn until you manage to get that 8-costed Genie out, which makes your actions pretty much free. Yeah, pretty good, I think. Next up into Ruby, a 5-costed Inkable 6/5 for 1 lore, Captain Colonel's Lieutenant. He's a Storyborn ally captain at vanilla. Uncommon rarity. This one made me really chuckle because a long time ago I said that we could have a Captain Matters deck, and I jokingly put this captain up as one of the possible ones, but the fact that they've actually given him the captain classification there is kind of awesome. But otherwise, I don't know, a big boy, filler really. 5-costed Inkable 6/5 with 0 lore. It's a Reckless Boy, Maui, hero to all, a Storyborn hero deity at rare rarity with Rush and Reckless. So this is just a beefed up Gaston, basically. Reckless is an interesting keyword that you've really got to build around, but Rush and Reckless, this thing is just targeted removal, basically. Like, this is banish exerted character, for want of a better word. This thing is coming down on turn 5 and doing 6 damage to anything that's exerted. Also in Ruby, a 5-costed Inkable 2/6 for 2 lore, Moana, Chosen by the Ocean. She's a Storyborn hero princess at uncommon rarity with the ability This Is Not Who You Are. When you play this character, you may banish chosen character named Takai. Flavor win, but naming specific characters in your opponent's deck personally just seems like a really weak mechanic. It doesn't necessarily say opposing character, so there is maybe a build around where you run both Moana and Takai, and you benefit from Takai being banished yourself, but I don't see it. Flavorful win, but not a great card. A 3-costed uninkable 3/2 for 1 lore, Peter Pan, Fearless Fighter. He's a Storyborn hero at common rarity with Rush. A solid little damage dealer that's going to come down in the early game and clear up the beginning of your opponent's mid-game plays, but the uninkable nature of this one makes it not great. Not sure this one will see much play. A 6-costed inkable 4/6 for 3 lore, Stitch Abomination. He's a Storyborn Hero Alien at rare rarity, and is just a soupy vanilla. Pretty pricey at 6, but a good body and a good lore generator. If we see any Alien Matters stuff, I think this one could see more play, but right now, if I opened a pack and this was one of my rares, I think I'd be a little disappointed. 6 costed uninkable 8/6 with 0 lore. Takai the Burning One, a Storyborn villain deity at super rare rarity, with Reckless. I mean, again, it's a 6 costed kill anything that's exerted, basically, and obviously there's ways to exert your opponent's characters. Maybe this is the build around with that Moana that we just looked at. You play this out, it gets rid of something, Moana banishes it, but actually banishing it bounces it back to your hand with something else, maybe. I'm not sure. A clunky card, but if it comes down at the right time, it kills anything you want it to. Next up, a 1-costed inkable item in Ruby. Ruby's had a lot of items this week. Shield of Virtue. It's an uncommon card with the ability Fireproof. You can exert it and pay 3 ink to ready chosen character. They can't quest for the rest of this turn. Ruby ready is something that I can't really gauge right now. I definitely think it's going to be strong if it's a real build around, but I haven't been able to playtest it at all. We've got a lot of support for it recently. I still think this is a bit clunky and a bit costly to do it really, but yeah, Ruby readying is definitely something we need to have a good play around with. Moving into the Sapphires then, there's some juicy ones here. This is a 7-costed inkable 3/6 for 3 lore, Chief Tui, respected leader, a Storyborn mentor king at uncommon rarity with the ability Support. 7 is pretty costly for something that is not affecting the board state when it enters the board, but even still, a 3 lore generator with a decent butt on it and then also support. This is a pretty solid uncommon, this. Another uncommon, 2-costed inkable 1/1 for 1 lore, Grammatala, Storyteller, Storyborn Mentor, with the ability I Will Be With You. When this character is banished, you may put this card into your inkwell, face down, and exert it. A great card for the Sapphire ramp decks. This comes down on turn 2, gets you 1 lore, maybe even 2 lore, and then as soon as it is outpaced, it just goes into your inkwell and starts getting new value that way. This is a great uncommon. A 7-costed uninkable with my favorite art from the set, a 3/6 2 lore, Hades Infernal Schemer. He's a Dreamborn villain deity legendary. Is there a downside to this? When you play this character, you may put chosen opposing character into their player's inkwell face down. Nice big butt on it, couple of lore, which is nice as well. You can get rid of something on their side of the board that's not looking good at 7. You know, this is coming down, there's definitely going to have something on their board that's doing great. I still don't think this needed to be uninkable. I think the fact that it's legendary is going to make it enough. But still. A 6-costed inkable 4/6 for 3 lore, Mufasa, King of the Pride Lands, Storyborn Mentor King at common rarity. Just a big vanilla. I've got a buddy who will be so happy that this card, like ever since the game was announced, he's just been like, is filling it yet? Is filling it every week? Is filling it? 2-costed inkable 3/1 for 1 lore, Philatites, Trainer of Heroes. He's a Storyborn mentor at common rarity with support. The support is on cards that really want to quest. Philatites most likely quests once and then gets pinged or maybe even taken out. That 3 strength is a little bit of a threat in the early game, and being able to give it to something else with support is pretty good. But yeah, he's not great. Sorry, Phil. 8-costed inkable 5/8 with 1 lore, Tamatoa, so shiny. This is the glow up from the drab little crab we saw earlier. A Storyborn villain at super rare rarity. What have we here? When you play this character and whenever he quests, you may return an item card from your discard to your hand and the ability Glam. This character gets +1 for each item you have in play. Woo-wee! Under the water is where the item decks want to be. You stick this with Who's It Collector and it's just gas all day, baby. Replaying items, getting benefit from them. Yep. Tamatoa Aerial is where it's going to be. A 4-costed inkable item in Sapphire, Eye of the Fates. Uncommon rarity with the ability See the Future. You can exert it to give chosen character +1 this turn. What? Only uncommon? I mean, 4's a little costly for this maybe, but man, you get a couple of these out, and Tamatoa's bringing them back, and he gets +1 for each of these, and then you can exert them for +1. Oh man, Is Sapphire broken? I think Sapphire's broken. Instaban. 3-costed uninkable item, also in Sapphire. Oh, Sapphire. Every time I see a Sapphire item, I'm getting scared already. Fishbone Quill at rare rarity with the ability Go Ahead and Sign. You can exert this to put any card from your hand into your inkwell face down. Waiting for a rules clarification on this, but as far as I'm concerned, any card means it can be an uninkable card in this circumstance. This is really great. One of the big problems we were having, I think, with the Sapphire Rampy deck is that you didn't really want to play uninkables because they could very well be very dead cards in your hand. This kind of fixes that. It's a decent cost. It's free to activate it, so every turn you're going to be able to do it. I still think we're missing some of the key card draw that we need for this, but yeah, if I'm not playing Emerald Shutdown, I'm playing itemy ramp stuff. A 1-costed inkable item also in Sapphire at common rarity, Magic Golden Flower with the ability Healing Pollen. Banish this item, remove up to 3 damage from chosen character. Honestly, the healing's fine, I guess. This card could basically just have nothing else on it other than the fact that it's a 1-costed item in Sapphire, and I still think it's going to see play. Just from how we've seen some of the other bigger cards in Sapphire care about items. Like this is just a rock that comes down. This basically gives an extra lore to Tama Tower. It lets you keep questing with Ariel. It genuinely could just say 1-cost rock, and it would I genuinely think it would see play. Moving into Steel, we have a 2-costed inkable 2/1 for 2 lore Aladdin Cornered Swordsman. He's a Storyborn hero at common rarity. Perfectly acceptable early play card here. You know, another target for the larger shift Aladdins, but nothing to write home about. A 4-costed inkable 2/5 for 1 lore Donald Duck Musketeer, the third and last Musketeer that we're seeing in set number 1. He's a Dreamborn hero Musketeer at uncommon rarity. He has Bodyguard and Stay Alert. During your turn, your Musketeer characters gain Evasive. Probably the weakest of the 3 Musketeers, I think, here. Still going to be a fun build around, I think. I think the big problem we're going to have here is that the Amber Steel deck wants to be a Bodyguard deck, and it wants to be a Musketeer subclass deck, perhaps. The problem is, if everything has Bodyguard, then nothing does, right? The whole point of Bodyguard is that you have to swing into this thing before you can deal with what else is on the board, and if you're just playing loads of Bodyguards, then they get to pick what they get rid of. Giving stuff evasive is fine, but again could be completely useless if your opponent is not playing an evasive heavy deck. That's a shame. I was really looking forward to the Musketeer stuff getting fleshed out, and I don't think it's quite there yet. Maybe set 2 will bring even more, who knows. A 3-costed inkable 4/2 for 2 lore in Steel, Lilo Galactic Hero. She's a Dreamborn hero at uncommon rarity. This may well be disappointing for a lot of people. It's a perfectly acceptable body, to be honest, but this art was teased a long time ago, and I think people got their hopes up that it would be an amazing, like, Floodborn Lilo that was incredible abilities, and it's really good art, very cute. Yeah, fine little card. Will come out and quest for 2 before it gets killed by fire the cannons. A 5-costed uninkable 3/5 for 2 lore Simba Rightful Heir. He's a Storyborn hero prince at uncommon with the ability I know what I have to do. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you gain 1 lore. This is really pretty good. I like this card a lot, actually. Steel is wanting you to swing out a lot. If you can get this out a little earlier, it's most definitely going to be able to kill something. That 3 strength may not hold up when it needs to if you're playing this on turn 5, but also it makes it a pretty good shift target for the later Simbas as well. I don't think this is terrible. I think this could see play in the right deck. A 5-costed inkable 5/4 for 1 lore Starkey Hook's Henchman. He's a Storyborn ally pirate at uncommon rarity with the ability Aye Captain. When you have a captain character in play, this character gets +1 lore. A 6-costed inkable 5/5 for 2 lore in Takai Heartless, a Dreamborn villain deity. Legendary rarity, Seek the Heart. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you gain 2 lore. Oh, Steel gaining lore from banishing stuff is beautiful. You love to see it. This is inkable, it's well costed, I mean, it's legendary, like it should be good. I'm looking at you, Gantu. Like it should be a good card, and this is a good card. This is, yes, Steel swinging out and gaining lore is going to be a real solid deck, I think. Easy to pilot. You're just going to be putting characters down and turning them sideways. 2-costed inkable action. Add uncommon rarity, Ransack. It's your card draw for steel. Draw 2 cards, then choose and discard 2 cards. Not awful. Some colors just aren't going to be as good as card draw as others, and at least you get to see the cards you've drawn before you decide which ones you're going to get rid of. Yeah, this is fine. The opportunity cost of the deck may well push this out, but I still think this will see play. And last but by no means least, a 3-costed uninkable item in steel, Plasma Blaster. Quick shot. You can exert it and pay 2 ink, deal 1 damage to chosen character. It's rare. Maybe it is least. I don't feel this is very good. It's way too expensive. Sometimes just having that 1 damage on something is what you need. But yeah, uninkable, rare, having to pay 2 to do it. Yeah, I don't dig it. There you go. That's the set. I promised you I would cover every single card on this channel, and with this video, it means I've done it. Later today, we're going to start taking a look at the starter decks that have been announced. We now have the full list for those. That's very exciting. And then we're going to take each color and do a top 10 of it. Then we'll start doing some of our own deck lists. And before you know it, we'll have cards in our hand and we'll be able to do some gameplay as well. Super exciting stuff. Thank you for joining me on this journey to the release of the first set. We're in the home stretch, folks. My name's John T. You've been in the Inkwell. Till the next one, be good.